All right, it's time for another video. I had two different requests this week based off of some of the videos that I put up. But first, we're going to start off as we always do with what's in my pocket. So this morning, I picked up my Para 3 in Crewwear, in Crewwear steel. Went out to the gun range, used it out there, came back home, broke down some boxes. Good knife, still. This hump right here, it really pushes my thumb up. Now my hand is larger than most, but you can see here, compared to a Paramilitary 2, my thumb would be able to, I would be able to kind of choke back on the handle and my thumb would be flatter, but here it's kind of crunched up. And yes, this is the way I prefer to grab knives with the forward choil, is on that forward choil, even my Striders. So this is the first knife I have. The other knife I carried with me was my Strider SAL, and this one is with the ghost stripes, and you can see there all of the discoloration and everything. That's from when I cut my iPhone 6 Plus in half. You can check that video out on my channel as well. But now let's get to this video. This is also a response video to some questions I got from my 81 Stockman, or not 81 Stockman, my 78 American Jack video. What process do I go through for a new knife? So here I have a 54. I can't remember the name of this knife, but a 54 in burlap micarta, and I think you can see that there. Actually, I'm going to turn the light on real quick. Give me a second. Okay, so I have this 54 in burlap micarta, which you can see now very well. This knife here, when I got it, it wasn't as sharp as I would have liked, so I did sharpen this knife. So that would be one thing that I do to a knife, is I'll put it on a, usually here it is right here. Usually I'll try to use this stone here, the medium and the fine on this Spyderco double stuff. This works okay. With this knife, you can see in my video, I did a video of sharpening this knife. And when I sharpened this knife in particular, I did put it on a DMT stone to get the edge to lay back some. You can see that bevel is a little bit wider than the factory, but ended up with a very keen edge. So I may sharpen a knife, but not every knife needs to be sharpened. I just felt like this knife wasn't sharp enough for me, and I felt like the edge angle wasn't where I would have liked it to be. Okay, so the next thing, and again, this depends from knife to knife what I do or don't do. This is a used Burnside jack that I picked up, and I can't remember the guy's name, but I picked it up in a trade on Instagram. And when I first got this knife, because it is used, and you can see the blade here has patina in the blade well. You can see here there's maybe some surface rust, but it's a user. I don't care. I did, if you don't know, there are some 56s that are coming out. I did get in on the early reserve for those 56s. I did pick up, or I hope I picked up, a single blade Titiute smooth bone handle, and I picked up the 2-blade Titiute bone handle. So I'm looking forward to that. But back to this knife. What I will do with this knife is I would get a paper towel, or rag, or whatever you prefer, and I would get some 10-weight nano oil. Now, I know some people would say nano oil is expensive, you know, that's a waste of nano oil. I would use this, I would use that. This is what I have. This is what I use. Use whatever you prefer. I know some people like mineral oil or other things. Mineral oil is kind of thick though. I bought this probably, man, I couldn't tell you how long ago. Easily 2 or 3 years ago. And it was, I think this cost me $20. This is a 1/2 ounce. Let me check. I don't know. It doesn't tell me on here, but I'm pretty sure this is a 1/2 ounce because I did think the ounce bottle was too big. And you can see here, even using this liberally, I've only used maybe just a little bit less than 1/2 a bottle. So this stuff lasts forever, and I find it to be the best lube that I've ever used. But that's a whole nother video. I will take the 10 weight nano oil and I will squirt a liberal amount, into the joint. And what I'll do is I will then work that joint back and forth, back and forth, back and forth like this. When you work it back and forth, let's see. Eventually, you'll see something like that come out, which I hope that's coming out in the video. But you can see here, there's some black gunk, and I will then wipe the knife, and you can see here, this one I've already cleaned out, so it's not going to be as bad. So then I might just open it and close it, and open it and close it. You know, and I'm not going to do it too long because I don't want you guys to just be sitting here watching me open and close the knife. But you can see here, there's a little bit more that came out, so I'll wipe it again, and you can see there. And I'll just continually do that until it runs pretty clear or it feels as free as I want it to feel. That's really about it. I don't do a lot of customizations to knives. I don't modify knives. I pretty much like to keep them as close to original as possible, but I will flush a knife out, and that's not uncommon, especially if you have a micarta knife like this from GEC. It seems like these get pretty gritty and pretty nasty, but you know, 20-30 minutes with some oil and opening and closing the action of the knife, you can just kind of wipe it and wipe it and wipe it, add oil as needed, and eventually you'll get a pretty smooth, free-flowing knife. So those are the two things that I primarily do to a knife, and that is to sharpen the knife and or flush it. Flushing is more common than sharpening. And like I said, if you want to see a sharpening video on this knife, check out my, I'm blanking on the word now. I've created different categories of videos, and one of the categories is sharpening, and the sharpening video for this knife is in there, so you can see that there, as well as some wicked edge sharpening, so on and so forth. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions or comments, please list them below. I hope to catch you in the next video. Thank you.